Hello, welcome to the Stellar Woman Show and the Stellar Woman Magazine. My name is Stella Olivia Kikoyo, and I'm the editor-in-chief and your host for the Stellar Woman Show. And the Stellar Woman Magazine and the Stellar Woman Show are here to bring you thriving women's stories, knowledge, and experiences so that you too can learn one or two things, be inspired, make a change, and thrive in your life. We know that knowledge is power, of course, if acted upon. And that's why we are here to bring you knowledge that makes a change in your life. We are here to change perspectives and reveal possibilities for everyone, but especially women. We know that women, once you inspire a woman, change a woman, you're actually changing the world. Today, we are very fortunate and thrilled to be having an amazing stellar woman who is Monica Bradley. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you very much, Stella. Great to be here today chatting to you.
Thank you. Monica is the founder and MD for MB Associates, which is based here in Chim. MB Associates is a mortgage broker, a multi-award-winning mortgage broker here in the UK. So it's amazing that we are, and a great opportunity for us to learn more about the financial climate, the mortgage aspects, the opportunities that are available for us. But today, in this particular episode, we are going to be learning about the benefits of using a mortgage broker. And that's why we have Monica here. And I'm sure you're going to learn something that is going to change your pathway in terms of how you move forward from this. So welcome, Monica. Monica, tell us more about how you founded MB Associates and what you do for your clients and why we actually have to come to businesses like yours to be able to solve our problems and enrich ourselves.
Well, a long time ago it started, Stella, back in 1989 when I really went out and became self-employed then, so a long time ago, and really built a very thriving business with like-minded advisors. So I've got a team of really great advisors and staff around who basically look after an awful lot of clients that we deal with year in, year out. And we deal with several generations of our clients, and 3 and 4 generations I think we're on. And we build the business really on our reputation for looking after clients. And the reason I say that is that it's really important, I think, for people to feel really confident about who there is going to look after their finances, and certainly who's going to help you, buy their dream home, who you go to if you want to purchase your first property or your second property, your third property, or even an investment property. And I really feel passionate about telling people why they should use a broker and what's the difference with using a broker as to be going directly to a bank. Because over the years, many people always thought they would just go to their bank for both their savings and their borrowing because they had that. But as we all know, in a very different world where banks maybe aren't open in the high street anymore, everything's a bit about technology. You don't tend to speak to your bank, you do everything over online. So why would you use a broker to actually look at what borrowing you can get? Because quite often, certainly in the UK here, we're a nation of people that want to purchase properties. We want to own properties. We like to own properties. We're not really very different to France and Germany, where they rent their properties. And we are a nation of always homeowners, and that's been happening for many, many years. So what is the difference for using a broker? Well, what it does is it really will give any client access to literally the marketplace in terms of what borrowing is out there. So what interest rate are you being charged? And how much are you being charged? What are the costs of the borrowing? How much can you borrow? Because believe it or not, every bank has very, very different criteria. So, for example, I could give somebody options for 10 different banks. And when I look at their, their income and their outgoings, so their income and their liabilities, that we could come up with 10 different answers, and we will come up with 10 different answers. So in using a broker really does give people access to being able to A, get the maximum borrowing they can borrow, and B, getting the right interest rate for that, because equally banks change their interest rates fairly regularly. But when you go direct to one bank, you're only being offered what that bank has. So it's a bit like going to a shop. You only get what that shop has. So when you go to a broker, you are literally getting access to thousands of products as opposed to one bank's products. And that makes a big difference to your interest over the long term. And also what I'll say about a broker is not just are they going to access the whole market for you, but what they're going to do is they're going to really build a relationship with you. And if they, and you can certainly do your research. I mean, anybody that's a bit worried about perhaps knowing for the first time, how do you find a broker? Well, try and find a broker really in your area. And as we know, we can do lots of research now on any company. You can pretty much get an understanding of what that company is about, because there might be reviews. Quite often there's Google reviews, or there's FIFO reviews, or there's, have a look at the company and have a look at the broker and see what people are saying about them, because you want to find a company and somebody that you trust over the long term. And that can make a substantial amount of savings to you over the long term of your mortgage. Because let's be honest, people start buying when they start buying, and they may be on the property ladder for 30 to 40 years. That's a lot of borrowing. And if you can get a trusted broker that you can trust over those years to tell you what the right options are, to work with you over the long term, to make sure you're paying the lowest amount of interest for the long term, that's really important. But it equally means that actually, especially now, you're not waiting so much for an appointment, because when you're talking to a bank, you might wait 3 weeks for your first appointment. You might wait a month. They might do their appointment structure over 2 or 3. So you might not get what you want to get the answers to for a long time, whereas a broker will work a lot quicker for you and come back to you. There's that much more personal relationship, and it really is important, because I think, if, as I said, certainly with us, we have long-term value clients, long-term relationships. And that is really important for, everybody to trust somebody that they know what they're talking about, and therefore you're getting the best advice on your interest over the very long term.
Amazing. There's so much here that you have given us in terms of how we can, what the broker does, and how we can benefit from making a choice to use a broker instead of going to the bank. And we have been of a benefit, my family and I, using MB Associates, and it was great to have a person like you give us the options that we have actually benefited from, and we continue to talk about long-term relationships, and we continue to be in a long-term relationship, and now we are into a business relationship, which has been because of trust, an aspect that you actually emphasize a lot. Thank you very much. And when you were talking about the benefits of using a broker, I was looking at it on a wider perspective, actually. So as if you have a sky view as a broker of everything else that I wouldn't, as an individual looking for a mortgage, I wouldn't have. I would have a narrow perspective. I would only know 1 or 2 banks, or 3 at maximum, and there are options. That's all I could do. But with you, you are telling us how much you would actually be able to tell someone and for them to be able to get the right interest rates, for example, for themselves.
Yeah, it's really true, Stella. And, you know, just as you were saying that, it really made me think, because sometimes actually I probably, and my team, we probably take a bit for granted that that's what we do, but that's exactly what we do. And that's exactly true, because there are so many different little bits of criteria that come into borrowing, such as, for example, let's say a first-time buyer comes to us and there's a student loan being deducted from your payslip, because many of our students are coming out of university with some loans, and student loans also. Things like this, you might say, well, actually, who takes them into consideration? If you've got a pension on your payslip, quite often you have to have a pension being deducted, and how do they deduct those pension arrangements? So these are really fundamental things, because a bank has different criterias. Also, what they will lend different amounts of multiple of salary, and very much so affordability calculators that are built into what somebody can borrow. So the benefits of using a broker are that that broker will be able to have had that situation, because they deal with clients that have all very different personal circumstances, but they might have seen that before, but they'll know where to go. So they'll narrow down the time, rather than somebody wait 6 weeks to get an answer from a bank that says, actually, we can't lend you that. We don't take that into consideration. You can really halve the time. And as we're all busy people today, that's really important. So it's true. And you know, as you were saying, it's a bit like a shop. It is. It's like, genuinely, people think about just borrowing or getting a mortgage as actually, oh, I'll go to my bank, or I'll go to 1 or 2 banks. That's a really long process just for that. And to think that, you know, if you said to me, how many different types of interest rates, or how many different rates are out there, there are thousands. But if you can get access to the lowest amount that you can get for your borrowing capacity, then that is a very, very worthwhile exercise. So yeah, it's important. It's a really good thing that you said, because actually sometimes we forget that. It's a bit like we're an encyclopedia. Imagine that encyclopedia. We're an encyclopedia of rates and mortgages and criteria. And we are that whole big encyclopedia. Think of how much is in those encyclopedias. Huge amounts. Well, that's what a broker is giving you in the world of mortgages and finance.
Definitely. And with your expertise, there's a way you break it down to detail that I wouldn't be thinking about. You're talking about pension, you're talking about student loan. Most times I'm thinking about how much I earn, and I'm stopping at some level, but there is so much you are putting into consideration. And when you talk about interest rates, in our previous episode with you, you were talking about the different interest rates, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what would that mean? What would that mean? What would that mean? So you're putting, but going to the mortgage broker, you're trying to actually get someone to help you just get that knowledge and make the right choices. And like you said, you're an encyclopedia. That was also another great terminology.
Yeah, it really is just that. And of course the broker is going to work with you, and because let's be honest, everybody's situation, some people might be saying, well, actually I only want to stay here for 2 years, or I might be saying, well, actually we're going to move away in a year. Or we're thinking of buying a property abroad, or my parents are getting elderly and they'd like to move near us. So all of those things are really important. A broker will listen to your circumstances, ask you questions and probe questions to you, the relevant questions that will mean what sort of mortgage you should take out. So have you got any plans for the next 2, 3, 4 years? Are you wanting to move in the next 2, 3 years? Because that's all relevant to the type of rate that you will be offered from a broker. because these are really important questions. So it's understanding, and an experienced broker is going to ask you all those questions so that they know the right products to recommend. You know.
Now, oh, sorry. I was wondering whether it's why wouldn't you choose a broker? Is it why wouldn't a client, for example, choose a broker? I think that would be also something that could help people make a judgment. Is it because they're thinking about the fact that they need to save money? Why wouldn't they choose one?
There isn't really, from my point of view, there isn't a disadvantage of using a broker. There just simply isn't. And of course, I've got great relationships with many banks. Many banks know and respect our business. So they know us, they trust us, they know the clients that we take to them. But there isn't a disadvantage in using a broker. I can say that with absolute, total and utter 100% guarantee. There isn't a reason why you shouldn't, because you're getting everything offered to you at that is the whole market. You're getting a whole holistic approach to your borrowing, and you're really narrowing down the time. Whereas if you do that research yourself, it's quite often, there's so many different rates, there's so many different, you know, we hear, especially at the moment with regards to the interest rates, a broker will be able to tell you and put into real layman's terms what it is that you're hearing in the news on a daily basis, or in the internet, or when an interest rate comes up and changes. What does that mean? What does it mean to you? And what has it meant to the whole market? Because let's be honest, these interest rates are changing so much at the minute. People have been hearing that. And you want to understand the difference between terminology, because it's a really important time. This is the most important time for people making decisions, because it's a fear. There's a fear of interest rates rising, to a very high level, or they are at a very high level. They've quadrupled since very quickly. But these are real big decisions that you need to understand, because and talk about risk. Do you want to fix now for 5 years at these rates? What does it mean if interest rates go up? What does a tracker mortgage mean? What does that actually mean? What is a tracker? And also, what sort of rate should you be on? And by using and facilitating a broker who has access to all the products from all the banks, you are going to get the most important knowledge and understanding. And financial knowledge is really important at the moment, especially with rates. It's never been so more important, to be honest, over the last 6-8 months since these fundamental changes have come in. So a broker will tell you, and you can really probe a broker, and a broker will also be able to tell you, actually, if this transaction takes 3 to 4 months to go through, or you're simply remortgaging and your rate with your existing bank is not up for 4 to 5 months, because you can actually secure a rate. This is really important to note, 6 months before. So 6 months before. So if you know your product is coming to an end in 6 months, you speak to a broker. The benefit of a broker, that broker will come back to you in 3 and 4 months. Keep an eye on it. It's almost a market watch. I do call this, I say we do a market watch. So when you come to complete on that mortgage, whether it's a purchase, whether it's a remortgage, an investment purchase, the broker can check to make sure that if there's a lower rate, because actually rates have been very volatile in the UK for some time. And it isn't just about bank base rate going. We had a mini budget that caused massive amount of financial unrest, rocked the markets, completely rocked the markets, and sent the cost of borrowing sky high. That has changed a bit over the last 3 months. And actually, even though bank base rate might have gone up, the bank, cost of money has come down. So realistically, a broker will make sure before you complete that there isn't a lower rate that they can opt for. And that's about your disposable income in your pocket. So summarizing on that, Stella, there just isn't a bad, no downside of using a broker. There just isn't one.
There just isn't one. That's very good. And that gives a great confidence. Don't look elsewhere. This is your option. This is your great option. You just have to go ahead and use a broker. So it has been great, Monica. And definitely I've seen so much, and I was thinking, goodness me, this is not even enough time to actually get all this content in. I'm just swallowing it up, taking up all the knowledge. But I also really dwelled so much about the relationship. And I thought, oh, wow, yes, you can't get this relationship from a bank. They will always give you appointments. And yet for you, you're looking at foresight, you're taking care of the customer's interest, your client's interest, and therefore you will be more interested in developing the relationship and ensuring that your client has the best at all times, which is great.
Yeah, very much so. And that is exactly what it's about. It's about building that relationship and trust over the long term.
Very good. And you talked about also you take care of your clients, ensuring that you secure the rates, because I don't know how much you talked about the fact that we are already all very busy. So with that perspective, you have someone you're working with, they will be alerting you in terms of your the next time when you need to actually review your rates to take advantage of the opportunities that are within the market. So there we are. We have only one option, and the best option, and that is using a mortgage broker. Thank you so much, Monica, for joining us and for sharing this great knowledge with us. I'm sure lots of women will derive confidence and move forward to be able to utilize mortgage brokers within their areas. Of course, the best is always important. And Monica is a multi-award winning mortgage broker here in the UK. And we have a great opportunity of working with her to bring you the knowledge that you need to make those choices. So thank you very much, Monica, once again. And it has been me, Stella, your host. Until next time, please keep your financial health, do your financial cleansing, and take care of those interest rates, keep compounding, and look for a mortgage broker. There's no other option. This is your best option. Thank you so much. Until next time, keep thriving. Bye-bye.